Hey everyone, Kunik here, back with a few D&D horror stories for you today on this Short Stories Wednesday. And oddly enough, several of them revolve around people being unable to separate reality from D&D, in particular with religion. I won't say any more, so with that all said, let's roll for initiative and begin the stories. Story number 1. Player quits game because D&D is polytheistic. So I have a regular group that gets together at least twice a month to play D&D. It is a 5-player group plus the DM. 2 of the players are in a long-term relationship. I met one half at work and invited them over to play, and invitation was extended to her partner to be polite. Now, they are both very nerdy. I knew from casual conversation that, let's call him Bill, is extra Christian. Y'all know the sort. Well, anyways, we get going on session 1 with character creation. We are nearly done when it comes to some players choosing a deity, as it applies to their class. Bill is visibly uncomfortable, and we pause to address it. The last thing I want to do is make a guest uncomfortable in my home. He says that he feels there should only be one God, as there is only one God, and pretending otherwise is a sin. We show him the gods chapter in the book, and explain that in a fantasy land, there are indeed multiple gods. No one says he has to interact or have anything to do with a deity if he doesn't want to, but other players will not be held to this. No, because we won't change the game to appease his narrow mind and force others to play the game his way, he and his partner leave, and he refuses to ever return, even for game nights with other games. His partner still joins us and is honestly a joy to be around, but it does put stress on them at home. Side note, Bill also got extremely offended when my partner asked his for a neck rub, jokingly in group chat. Bill started going off on how they shouldn't touch other men. Bill then left the group chat and blocked the rest of the party on social media. So basically, a crybaby super Christian couldn't deal with polytheism in a fantasy game and rage quit. Super sad. Now his partner has a curfew on game nights, and it cuts our sessions short sometimes. Yeah, I really don't want to comment too much on this because it could start some sort of a flame war in the comments, but I'll say this. If you are unable to separate reality from fiction, honestly nothing should be fun to you. You shouldn't be able to read books, go to the movies, play video games, or do anything, because you're likely to be easily offended in any of them if they so much as touch religion in any light capacity. And I personally like to live life this way. Why get upset over things that ultimately don't matter to you directly? Life's too short to really care, and all it does is put unneeded stress on yourself. But that's just my 2 cents. Onwards to story number 2, another DM deleted the server, this time after the session had started. Some of you may have remembered a previous post I made of being in a server that the DM deleted without warning. Well, a few weeks ago, I joined a new group with a new DM and things were going great. We had made new characters. We had a storyline going and everyone was having fun. Yesterday, we all logged on the server and the Roll20 game for session 2. The DM was giving us a recap of session 1 and where we are picking up with the story today. The group started discussing an action to take, and suddenly the DM deleted the server. All of us quickly hopped on the chat in Roll20 to find out if we were kicked. None of us could see the server available in our Discord, and we couldn't message each other on Discord because we were no longer in a server together. We then noticed the DM had removed himself from the Roll20 game. We created our own server to discuss what happened and try to coordinate efforts to contact the DM. We all jumped on voice in the new server and realized the Roll20 game has now been deleted. Several of us messaged the DM through Discord and Reddit, and one person saw the DM read their message, but was then blocked by the DM. But since we had the group together and characters created, we have decided to make the best of a bad situation, and 1 or 2 players will be learning to DM so we can all still play together. Well, the post that the OP was mentioning was what we covered in last week's Short Story Wednesday, so if you haven't seen that video, be sure to check it out to see what the context is. Regardless, it is a pretty crappy thing to do mid-session, especially without warning or any kind of conflict that may have caused it. But, happy ending at least, they're all still playing together, so that's good, and hopefully things go smoothly for the rest of them. Onwards to story number 3, awkward encounter with a Christian gamer. Saw the story about polytheism today, and I had a similar encounter a while back. It is easily one of my most awkward encounters with a new player ever. I was running a popular advanced D&D 2nd edition game about 2 years ago now. I started with just 2 people. Then suddenly it exploded in popularity, with several people wanting to join. There was this teen who wanted to end the game, and I got him starting to make a character. After he rolled, he was talking about being a healer, so I suggested he play as a cleric. When I DM, I always refer to the PCs as you, as in, what do you do? I think this is definitely the most common way of doing things, and this kid was in D&D before, so I was confused about what happened next. We are playing Forgotten Realms, and I brought out the Faiths and Avatar's book and simply asked him, "What god do you worship?" This kid looked at me confused, and slowly pointed his finger up. I was also now just as confused. I said something like, "What do you mean?" He said, "I worship God. The God above." At this point, I was totally confused, and was thinking he was talking about him wanting his character to worship an in-real-life god. Still confused, I said, "I don't know how we're going to include that into our game. Pick one from this book." At that point, the kid slowly slinks away, saying nothing, and goes across the room to another table. Never talk to him again. Again, I'm going to avoid discussing anything about the context of the story, just to avoid a potential flame war, but as with the first story today, same message here. D&D is a fantasy game. It's not reality, and part of its big allure is being able to roleplay something you otherwise are not in real life. So it's a little odd that the players are taking it so personally just because their religion is different than what's in the book. Anyhow, that's it for the stories today. If you enjoyed the video and you want to see more videos just like this, be sure to hit the subscribe button and bell notification icon to be notified of my future videos. And as always, the source of the video is in the description below, along with a link to our Discord server if you are so inclined to join. Anyhow, while you wait for those future videos, here are a few related videos that you can watch in the meantime.